Hello, this is Dylan Miller on Daily Dose of Dylan. Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, or iHeartRadio. Wherever you may be, however you may be listening. Alright, we got some good stuff today. Got mostly NFL talk. I don't know if we have any NBA talk, actually. Probably just Harden's injury. We'll see what happens with that later. Alright. So, the Falcons are torn on what to do with the 4th overall pick. Do they draft a quarterback? Do they draft some defense? Do they trade to draft some defense? You know. They don't know. Now, even if you take out, because a lot of people say, oh, it was Kyle Shanahan, or oh, it was Matt LaFleur as a quarterback coach. I'm not going to count that year when he had Kyle Shanahan. Alright. So even the last 4 years, without Shanahan, 66% completion percentage, 286 yards per game, 107 touchdowns, 44 picks, 96 passer rating. His problem is not... his problem is he's not a strong athletic quarterback. And that's not what you normally like. If you don't look like the prototype, you're not really loved that much. They don't really take to you. But look at what Atlanta has done well in the past 4 years. They've passed well. That's it. And Matt Ryan has led Matt Ryan has led the NFL the last 4 years in completions and passing yards in the last 4 years. So do you think Trey Lance is going to do that? I'm going to go no. I think he's great, but I don't know. So, Matt Ryan and Derek Carr, they're not the problem. They're the only thing saving you. And I would take Matt Ryan over half the quarterbacks that made the playoffs last year. Let's look up all the quarterbacks in the playoffs. I'm taking him over Phillip Rivers. I'll take him over who was the 7th seed in the NFC. I'll take him over Trubisky. Let's see. I'll take him over the Steelers. Or no, I'll take him over Mayfield. Who made the playoffs last year? Jared Goff. I'd take him over Alex Smith. I would take him over Ryan Tannehill. I would. Let's see, who else? I'd take him over Big Ben. I would take him over... How many is that? Let's see. Tannehill, Mayfield... Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, that's 4. And then I take him over Alex Smith, Jared Goff, and Mitch Trubisky. That's 7 out of the 14 that made the playoffs. So I would take him over the guys that made the playoffs. So he's not the problem. You should trade it down to the 9th pick probably. Let's get some music going here.
Shopping with Google helps.
And I think Matt Ryan is. I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. Honestly, I think he might be top 10. I don't know. That's definitely debatable. But I definitely think he's probably top 10, top 15. He's better than most of the guys that made the playoffs. Like I said, so. Alright. So, Darnold is headed to the Panthers. Or no. Yeah, and Joe Douglas said that if they weren't the second overall pick, they would try to work things out with Darnold. And I always thought the situation was where you were drafting and the money, because they'll have to pay Zach Wilson soon. And Sam Darnold, he's not a bad quarterback. He can definitely do well. He has all the weapons down there. He's Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey. So I think this was definitely a good move for both teams. I think it's a win-win. Alright, so Warren Moon, former quarterback for the Seahawks, believes that Wilson and the Seahawks are headed for a divorce. I think it's, just one of those, where they're trying to work it out, but it's just too many differences, But you know what the NFL is kind of becoming? Like the NBA a little bit. Like in the NBA, it's always dynasties start up, and then egos get in the way of it, and it ends the dynasty. In the NFL, it's normally always been, you get a dynasty going, injuries get in the way because it's a physical contact sport. So it's an ego problem now. A lot of times quarterbacks don't finish with the team they start with. Like Brady didn't even. Peyton Manning didn't. They're switching teams now because of the egos on the team they have, Like the Pats were like, yeah, we're not going to pay you. We come with a lot of quarterbacks. And then we know what happened there. It could still work, but I mean, it didn't work out too well. So KD is returning tonight, and I'm excited to see him play, And I have a theory. I think there's a bit of a strategy behind Harden being injured right when KD's coming back. Let Harden rest now, but I think they're going to cruise through the playoffs. I think they're going to sweep the first two and then go to 5 or 6 in the final rounds. And then maybe the West winner will give them some trouble, but they were 19-4 without KD, and they'll do well, I think. So I kind of wanted to elaborate on the strategy behind Harden sitting out right after KD, give him a rest afterward. I think it's actually... I don't know if it really is a strategy. I just throwing out a possible solution as to why this just happened. But, it wouldn't... I don't see why you would do that. I feel like it would be stupid anyway, to do it. That's why I don't think they did. Because, why would you just let a guy rest instead of just throwing in all three of them, giving yourself an easy win? An easy win. But, I mean, because Harden has played just as much as KD has played, so I don't know why... what are you trying to be fair here? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So it's definitely a theory you can come up with. It might be strategy. They want to rest some of their players, and then go all in the playoffs. So I don't know, but I am a little suspicious of that. That seems a little weird. Alright, so Nick Saban said that Kyle Shanahan did not ask him anything at Mac Jones' pro day. I don't think we should read too much into coaches going to pro day, because you're looking for solutions on who to draft, and who would be available at your spot, so of course you're going to go. Because sometimes if you just like someone, even if you don't really need it, if you just like someone, you should just draft him. Because if you really believe he's going to help your team, sometimes bolstering a position, some people say the best defense is more offense. That's kind of what the Nets, I think, are going by. If we just get more and more offense, they're not even going to stand a chance. So, I mean, that could be the case. I mean, and they're really speculating the guy. It doesn't mean they're going to draft him. So I don't think Mac Jones makes any sense at 3, especially what they gave up to get him. And think about what happened to Belichick. This league changes narratives quickly. If you struggle, if they draft Mac Jones and they struggle, Kyle Shanahan got mauled because he's, what is he, 7-27 without Garoppolo, and he's blown 2 leads in Super Bowls, one as an offensive coordinator, one as a coach. Look at Andy Reid. He was an idiot in Philadelphia, and he couldn't win the big game, and now he won the Super Bowl, and then he was a genius, and then this year he got blown out. Now he got questions. So narratives change very quickly if you struggle in this league. So you got to be really cautious here, and I don't think Sam Darnold. I don't think Mac Jones is good enough. All right, so Robbie Anderson had 1,200 yards with Darnold last time they played. They stupidly let him go, but, that's the Jets. And he's excited to reunite with Darnold. He's really talented but inconsistent. The Jets, they let him go, and now... Because think about it. Like, if you're going to let go of someone, you should know... Alright, like the Bucks. Like, they can look at AB, they're like, okay, we don't really need him. He's a good bolster to our receiving core, but we're still good without him. The Jets had to look at that, like that with Robbie Anderson. Okay, so if we lose him, are we gonna need a speedy receiver afterwards? Answer is yes. You're gonna need a speedy receiver after you get rid of Robbie Anderson. They clearly didn't think of that. The good thing for the Panthers is Robbie Anderson, like, there's certain receivers that make certain quarterbacks comfortable. Robbie Anderson made Darnold comfortable. Like, Mahomes with Kelsey, the Chiefs got to keep him because Kelsey makes him comfortable. Like, Jordy Nelson, the Packers kept him until retirement, or until 2 years. Packers had him in every year except for the 2 years he was with the Raiders. So, you got to keep him as long as you can because they make the quarterbacks comfortable. So they got a good situation in Carolina now. So back to the Falcons being torn on their decision. I firmly believe they should trade it. They'll get more in return than just drafting a quarterback that might be good. And I think they trade with the Broncos, draft Micah Parsons. I think they trade this by next week. It might not be with the Broncos, but I think it'll happen. Because I think... Here's what I think. I think they trade down, they get Micah Parsons. Because I think the Panthers... either draft Kyle Pitts or take Caleb Farley. So either either they bolster an offense that doesn't really need to be bolstered, or they go for a team need like Caleb Farley. All right. So apparently Jerry Jones has fallen in love with Kyle Pitts. Damn it, I keep clicking that. I understand this from Jerry's perspective. If they draft Kyle Pitts, I understand if they do that. From his perspective, not the team's. Like, if the entire team want to be good. Because you do not need an offense. Zeke Elliott is good enough. He's not great, but he's good enough. Their receiving core is one of the best. They got CeeDee Lamb. He's surging. Michael Gallup's talented. Amari Cooper, talented. Dak Prescott, top 15 quarterback. Your defense is the problem. You really should not overhaul anything. But I understand it from Jerry's perspective because it validates Dak's contract because he'll play much better. They'll score more. You'll see more highlights of them. And I think from Jerry's perspective, he's like, okay,